Good morning. I don't actually have a huge number of plans for what I'm going to talk about this morning, so I just thought I would pop in and say hi and show you some books. Because I have several books to show you. So, mayhap that will help us to fill the time if we need to. Perhaps help us to fill the time. Let me first just see here. Have I told everyone what's going on? Yes, I have. Okay, good. Yeah, so it is. I think we last chatted. Good morning, everyone. I think we last chatted like this when. I had this thought about just sort of coming in like doing the Bob Ross thing and just being very calm and quiet. I'm sure that would be very very relaxing to folks, but sadly that's not me. So while I enjoy doing that sometimes, it's not quite me. But. So yeah, I think the last time we chatted like this was on Wednesday. Was Wednesday a day like that? Or was it even Tuesday? I can't remember anymore. It all blurs together. I'm sure a lot of folks are having that experience right now. But last few days, things were going on, I'm pretty sure. I'm curious to know whether we did this on Wednesday or not. I guess I could look and see. I could find out if I desperately want to know. But yeah, it seems to me that, well, the upshot of this is, what did we do this week? Hello, good morning. Hi, Alyssa. Hi. It's, I need to actually, I don't know if it would warrant it, but I need to think about actually just going ahead and putting stream chat over on visually here as well, just because, like I said, I'm going to end up porting these out to YouTube anyway. But, hi. Anyway, enough of that. Hello. What is happening? These past few days, there was Gamery. I did Shakespeare on a couple of mornings, and so that's Thursday and Friday. That's why I wasn't here. Sort of did various amounts of hanging out and attempting to plan things. I'm very close to finishing planning about a thing that I cannot announce yet. But we will see. We will see. It needs to be done. We will do it. Let's see. Basically, Saturday just did Invisible Sun. On Sunday, did Invisible Sun also, which was a lot of fun. We had another development session and had a guest in who was a much darker character than usual, which was a lot of fun. And of course, Sunday night we just did Ghosts of Saltma again, which was our dark matter campaign. It was an utter delight. I still haven't cleaned up from it. Studied bed, Invisible Sun, is that what it says? I am not sure. I'm not actually looking over at the captions right now, but I'm sure they're. And I find that we had an adventure with web captions last night, but this morning the captioner, the app that I'm using right now, is I think a little bit easier, or rather I think a little more accurate, I should say. A tiny bit more accurate than web captioner. I'm only using. I think for this I'm going to try to use the captioner I'm using now, and then if I do, as I've been doing in like video games and such, I'm going to switch to web captioner so that I can get it into a condensed space near me. Hey Ozzy, how's it going? How has your day been? Yeah. Web capturing is fixating on anatomy recently. We're not sure why, but certain words have been creeping out that involve that. I don't understand what's happening really. But you know that sometimes you reach an intersection. That's all I'm going to say. So I have a package, another package that has been sitting for days now, and I think perhaps might be okay to open. Could early stop at work because feeling a bit off. Just general malaise. Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, it's very easy lately for me at least to slip into a malaise. And so I hear ya. Let me go ahead and switch to the unwindowed view here so that I can open this up. Who is this from? Quartermaster Logistics. I am not sure. This is another of those glorious amnesiac Kickstarter things, I think, probably. Because I have no idea what's in here. So, we shall open it. Be very careful with scissors. Do not do as I do and snap them around like a maniac. For it is not safe. Okay. Apparently I've ordered a box full of air. A lot of this stuff in here. Ah, yes, okay. All right. So I think, as I've said previously, I try not to order physical products very much anymore. But sometimes I cannot resist doing so. We have this. This is a product tie-in for Deadlands Noir. This is a card game that came out that John Goff put together. John Goff wrote the Deadlands Noir core book, and so I am excited to see this, even though it is extremely unlikely I will use this card game physically with anyone for a while. I mean, even if we get to a point where there's like I'm going to gaming stores and meeting with people and stuff regularly again, I feel as though that I wasn't doing a lot of face-to-face gaming with these things in the first place. But yeah, the thought of going into doing it as a Roll20 thing has occurred to me, or this or virtual tabletop. We shall see. We shall see. I shall have to see what the the expenditure of time and effort would be to do such a thing. I am actually going to open this package because I am excited to see it. Deadlands Noir is one of my favorite settings. Deadlands is basically one of my favorite settings, and then Deadlands Noir Deadlands Noir meshes up two things that I really like. It meshes up westerns and the detective genre into a thing. Not as much actually as I wanted it to be in the core book. It's funny because I was thinking about, oh great, we get noir westerns, which that is a genre. It does exist. There are not a lot of things in that genre. I keep having to point to just basically this one movie that I know of, and I need to go check out some others because I know they exist. But Bad Day at Black Rock, which I think is Spencer Tracy, where you have basically the idea of he's out west, but it's like the 1930s, and so yeah, basically that's why I kind of there's a lot to do with that. Mostly if you have things set in the 20s and 30s, you see them in cities, which was part of the conceit of Deadlands Noir in the first place. That they do it in they go strictly noir, detective genre, basically. Or they actually can go. Before anyone who is of an academic bent wishes to correct me on this, I do understand that noir and detective are two different things. You just see more of the detective examples of noir than anything else, but you can also see other things. It tends to involve stories about criminals, but it's just basically my understanding of noir is that it's very much people in pain causing pain to other people, basically. In many ways, it's one of the big tropes of it, anyway. And sort of the plot progresses through that pain in an effort to resolve the pain. And more often than not, it never gets resolved ever. It just drives things inexorably forward, but in a way that's very dramatic, and so I find that interesting. So that's why I did. Ozzy is referring to a one shot that I ran. I ran a series of one shots of Deadlands Noir on this channel, and I re-injected some of the Western back in because I wanted to do Western Noir, so it's basically Oh Brother, Where Art Thou with Monsters. Hello, greetings. We are chatting. We are chatting a bit about various things right now. I'm just about to open this box that I've just received. It's the Big Easy, a card game for Deadlands Noir. I also do like I do like the strict sort of detectives and gangsters type, hard-boiled genre. That aspect of noir as well. So I mean, it's one day I ran I ran like a campaign for about 3 years of Deadlands Noir, where it was just straight, in the city doing stuff. They were in New Orleans, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it. But there's a booklet that tells us things, like rules. It has rules. It has a summary of play and the various things one can do with it. How to do the setup for the game and all that. What the different cards mean. I'm not going to read this right now. Our next reading will be from a rule book, which I've seen that happening online quite a bit lately, which looks amusing. So maybe, who knows? Sort of what gameplay kind of can look like. I'd like to look into this if I have time to kind of just sort of figure it out. Apparently, it's like you're trying to solve a case of some kind. And it has tokens that you punch out. And then, these characters can be wounded, apparently. I guess you're playing one of these characters, perhaps. Or these are just, to represent your character. And it has the cards, which I'm seeing. I don't know if this is 3 separate decks or if this is what it is, but this it says Big Easy cards, and it looks like this has the card that's visible right now is a Dilettante Heiress. And I guess I could open it. Then it says motive cards, and then in the back here I'm seeing it says they're sawed-off shotguns, so that's equipment. So they also, I guess, have equipment cards. I'm probably going to open this in a minute. I don't know if I'm going to be able to resist it. Turn order. It has cards telling you what the turn order is. And accident. This is a motive card. I'm going to open these. I can't stop myself, and none of you can stop me either. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. You all have to stay 6 feet away. Let's see. Of course, the packaging might stop me. I don't know. I can't get in. You have scissors. No, no, I have to do it myself. You ever have that where it's like you can see the line. You can see the line of I don't know if you can see this clearly, but there's there's that line in the plastic that is there to help you open it, like like you would a pack of cigarettes or a pack of cards, and yet, no amount of clawing will pull it up. And yes, I know that I can just tear into the top of it, but I must attempt it the right way. It's important. Don't you understand? There's an order to things. Ah! It never works. It never does. It's only when the only time I've ever seen it work is when they put like a tab, that you use to sometimes they put a tab. See, I see where the seam starts, but there's no tab, so I can't actually get at it. So we're back to the very dangerous scissors. In just a moment. Actually, I could probably even just pull up the top of this and not have to worry. I don't even have to mess with the scissors, probably. You had one game open Ozzy had one game in the last 10 years open the way it should. I understand. I feel your frustration at that because because I had to scratch the side of my cards. I have to ask if you are willing to read a short poem called Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. I'd like to know your opinion. Also, the background music is very soothing. I like it. Where is it from? Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. I'm not familiar with that, but I can check it out. Can't promise anything, but I can check it out. Right now it's showing me, Google is showing me 8x10 printables, but apparently it's out there. I'll take a look when I have a sec. But it is pretty short. Okay. Where is the background music is from Tabletop Audio, tabletopaudio.com. Today we are in an elfin glade. It's basically Tabletop Audio, and between Tabletop Audio and it's now, what is it called? It used to be just Incompetech that I went to, but now he's part of a bigger site called filmmusic.io. Those are the two go-to sites for me, where I go to try to get music when I'm doing RPGs online. And because it's royalty-free stuff, all you have to do is credit them, and which I do in the video descriptions, which I will hear when this is done. But it's pretty cool. So we have, so really the only way to tell the difference, a private investigator badge with the bullet hole in it and the Illuminati symbol on it is kind of the thing for these cards. So I guess the only way we can differentiate some of these cards from each other is the color of the backs, and then obviously the fronts. So yeah, you get like three. You get you get to play one of 6 of their signature characters for Deadlands Noir. I believe all of these characters that I'm looking at here, I've played one of them in a demo. This one. In a demo that Shane ran when Deadlands Noir was getting ready to come out. Yeah, these are their signature characters, so because they release in their pre-gen character document. so you can you look at those for Deadlands Noir itself, for the game, for the RPG. These, you have 6 of them that I guess you play one of these characters in the course of the game, in the course of the card game here. And so we have those, and we have cards with a bunch of cards with blue backs. There's a bunch of cards with blue backs that I know I could look in the rulebook and see what they mean, but I don't want to bog things down that much. Bucket o' Blood. That's a place. That is yeah, so I guess this takes place in New Orleans. Yeah. Actually, it makes sense. The Yellow Sign Bookstore. I used that in the campaign. Sanzones. A lot of I'm recognizing a lot of places that I used in the course of that campaign, which is nice. St. Louis #1 Cemetery. I like these illustrations quite a lot. They're really nice. So, like, we've got places, but these cards are also mixed with other things. So I guess I can only guess that you have to yeah, I mean, I don't know if I should shuffle all of these together, or should I? Perhaps later. And I've already sort of messed up the order a little bit of some of them, but keeping them within their subgroups, right? Legwork, metal. Yeah, and then you sort of have things called different kinds of legwork and metal cards. It's like you have an alibi. You meddle with things by bringing in a ranger. Because the Texas Rangers are still a thing. That have a wider mandate than Texas in the Deadlands setting. What the hell? Limbic Enticement Grenade. A lot of stuff. Oh, and that's, they've got, like, this is a card for a Jenkins badge. This is, it's from Tombstone. Interesting. Okay. So just stuff from the Weird West setting showing up. Artifacts probably has some power. Very cool. Okay. Just looking through and just grabbing any that look interesting. Mardi Gras mask. Playing a hunch. Confusion. An interesting thing about Deadlands Noir, and this image is actually looks like a bald mental patient. This is a psyker. One of the first psychers. They introduced psychers in Deadlands Hell on Earth. It's their post-apocalyptic setting, and then when they did Deadlands Noir, they it's where that's the era that they're tracing the origins of psychers to, pretty much a little bit before. But it's basically in that setting, psychers are people with psychic abilities, basically. As a result, that come about as a result of a government program. Designed to create people who are weapons, basically. So any of the ones that you find in the Deadlands Noir setting are usually either they're working for the government or they've gone rogue. And every major government has them. I would like to open this package and see what's inside. Have you tried playing the Illuminati card game by Steve Jackson Games? You don't really play tabletop games. That's okay. Yeah, no, that's tabletop games is largely what we do on this channel. But I have not played the Illuminati card game. I played a couple of. Well, I mean, I played Munchkin, but I mean everyone and his brother has played Munchkin. As far as the Steve Jackson games go, I have not tried that one. I hear things. I have read the Illuminati books. The Illuminatus trilogy. It's been a little while, but I have I listened to the audiobooks of those. But my understanding, now the crinkling of plastic. But it's yeah, cool tropes abound. So now we kind of get into so these are some of the same kinds of cards on the bottom of the deck. So we've got more of these blue cards. So I assume you add that to the blue deck. Sawed-off shotgun. But then we get into cards with red backs, and I guess these are threats and obstacles. All right. There's a lot of occultism in here. You have they have a Bokor. They have as a threat and like an obstacle example. They have a booby trap. Or black hand surveillance. A lot of things either both occult stuff about the occult and stuff about gangsters in it. So you get that coming together, and it's very cool. Police flying squad. Very strange. Anyway. So bunches of those. And then I have apparently some green-backed cards here, which basically are showing the background because they're green. And these are suspects, looks like. Very cool. So just basically images of suspects. By and large, with the when they some of the images in these cards, a lot of these images in the cards are from just the Deadlands Noir book or the Companion, and they just sort of took them to for a lot of them. Some of them they just came up with new people, and some of them they actually took photographs that backers of the Kickstarter sent in, the original Kickstarter. But that's cool. So they've got a number of suspects, and then motives, which is nice. Always good to have those. And I suspect this deck is mostly going to be more green cards as we get more into the motives. This deck was mostly suspects. I feel like this one's probably mostly motives that we have there. He says, once again, attempting to claw his way through the plastic. He hates it. But, at any rate, yeah, I'd like to try to play this at some point. I just have to figure out. Just have to figure it out. That's all. There we go. And so, looking these over. Okay, this is just a mix of everything, apparently. Oh. I think these are scenarios, some of these. Okay, evidence. Okay, now we've got things printed. Okay. So evidence and motive cards actually have that printed on it. And then apparently you have different cases here that you can attempt to solve. And just the different things there. Interesting. And then I'm seeing more suspects, and this is just a general cluster of a bunch of different cards. I don't know if they're related specifically to these cases, which is why they're here. or if there was a bit of a jumble as they boxed it. But that's pretty cool. Then we have finally the cards that show the turn order, and then also what the various traits mean. So that's cool. I look forward to looking at this in more detail when the opportunity presents itself. Okay. Okay, I have a brownie from my favorite bakery who do home deliveries now. Cool. That's good to know. One hopes for such things. We don't have actual full-on bakeries around where I live, per se. There are a few. I can't say that there aren't any. Because now I'm thinking, wait a minute, no, there are a couple. I just don't go in there very often. Or by and large, the ones around this neighborhood that I live in are more, they do specialty stuff that takes time. But there is a cookie delivery service that's not too far away, which is very dangerous. But for more than one reason now. But it's a delight. It is a delight. Okay. I have a number of books over here that I'm going to show you. If you have any interest in Tolkien, then this will probably be for you. If you have no interest in Tolkien, I apologize in advance. The videos are, okay. Illuminati game. Yeah, I may check it out at some point. Be there time. But it's been a while. So I inherited a number of so I have been a fan of Tolkien since I was a wee lad. And something that, you know, I would occasionally, because it's like, oh, I want to reread this. I think, okay. So I'm going to start with the book in this pile that is arguably perhaps the least old, or around being the least old. Or perhaps more just the least impressive looking. Because actually I have some, yeah, I'm going to show you the paperbacks first, is what I'm saying. So this, oh my god, okay, so yeah, we have to, let's turn off the chroma key real quick. That's not helpful at all. Just because, you know, I want to be able to, yeah. The thing is, it's not green. It's gold. This is the, this copy of The Hobbit, is one that, I got as part of a, but yeah, there's enough green in it that, you know, it's close enough. This copy of The Hobbit is one that I got that, I think this actually came with a computer game of The Hobbit back in the 80s. It was a text adventure game with graphics, a few graphics, not a lot of graphics, as I recall. I can't even remember which. There have been multiple text adventure games of The Hobbit, and so I can't clearly remember which one this was. But this is an edition that they stuck in that box. And I was like, I haven't read this for a while, so I sat down and I read it again at that point. But it was very cool, and my mother was always kind of upset about the later changes she perceived happening to these books, and there were changes, but I don't know that. I think that by and large, when she's talking about those changes, she's remembering changes from when she was a kid, not from when she was first reading the book to me. But was it a Magnetic Scrolls game? I can't remember, honestly. It was in the 80s. Let's see. I'm seeing 1982, maybe. I think it might have been the one in 1982, maybe. Don't know. We ended up getting. The parser was very advanced at the time. Used a subset of English called English with an I. Yeah, that was the. Yeah, this is the one. Because I remember that. Yeah, we sat with this and tried to play it and tried to play it and tried to play it, and I think it had bugs and it just didn't. Was never able to get to the end because there were bugs. That's right. Okay, yeah, I'm just reading the description here. Oh wow. Okay. This is a thing. And it's kind of, I'm looking at the description of this. That is reminding me of what this actually is, and I can go ahead and kind of, I'm just manipulating things here to show you what I'm talking about. Just a wee bit. And there we go. This is the sort of the Hobbit 1982 video game. I'm looking up on Wikipedia here. And the thing that's interesting, so I remember the thing about English that it says up here, that basically most adventure games use simple verb-noun parsers. English allows the player to type advanced sentences such as ask Gandalf about the curious map and then take sword and kill troll with it. Kind of a thing they were doing, sort of like what Infocom was doing. Or they too tried to have a more advanced parser. As in many locations are illustrated by an image based on original design by Kent Reese. And the slow CPU meant that it would take up to several seconds for each scene to draw. This is true. But basically the thing I came across that was reminding me, it says, the game has a cast of non-player characters, NPCs, entirely independent of the player and bound to precisely the same game rules. They have loyalties, strengths, and personalities that affect their behavior and cannot always be predicted. And it says here, the character of Gandalf, for example, would roam freely around the game world, some 50 locations, picking up objects, getting into fights, and being captured. I remember that. Yeah, Gandalf was the most chaotic character you could possibly run into. He would go in, opening and closing doors, opening and closing windows, opening cabinets, picking things up, moving them around. It was insane. So it's like, anytime you would run into Gandalf, he was as much of a hindrance as he could be a help. In that game. And I think it was like Thorin would mostly stick with you and do things if you asked him to. Gandalf was just freaking just chaos incarnate in that game. 'Cause he'd do whatever he randomly decided he wanted to. But yeah, and it says there are numerous possible solutions, with hindsight, the game might be regarded as one of the first examples of emergent gameplay. This also resulted, however, in many bugs. And that I remember. So, yeah, because of, it says, due to the immense size and complexity of this game, it is impossible to guarantee it will ever be completely error-free. And this, too, I remember. Oh, so, Mind Delusion is saying, I like the worlds people build, always find it fascinating how much they capture reality and create their own. It's crazy to even imagine a new genre, like imagining a new color. Yeah, they sort of have to happen organically, as you're patching things together from other things. World building has always been a fascination of mine. That's why I did a world building podcast back in the day. Good Lord, it's been a while. It was called Crucible of Realms, where every episode we'd build a world. And we just start with an idea and just riff off each other until we sort of had a kind of a setting together. And then I had to edit each episode down to like an hour, and I lost my mind doing so, I think. Not that I had it completely in the first place. It comes back every now and then I lose it again. Magnetic Scrolls. I remember the Magnetic Scrolls company, but I don't. Yeah, I don't remember if they ever did a Tolkien-based game or not. They might have. There were like 9 million different Tolkien-based PC games, but this one was at Melbourne House. It says, it's it was just fun to kind of tinker with at the time. But anyway, so that they included a copy of this in the American version, and so I looked at that. But I shall now tell you about some of these others. So I've inherited a bunch of books from different places. A lot of these come from my grandmother, we had growing up in the house multiple sets of these paperbacks, and of the places that I've recovered them from, I remember a bunch of these because we read these books, the Lord of the Rings books, several times. So this one may recall. The edition with Tolkien's picture on the back. Seems a much jollier fellow in this picture than some people might have his reputation. Apparently, there's a bookmark here. We stopped at chapter 2, The Shadow of the Past, on this particular read through. And it's a green bookmark, so it's hard to see, but this was one of the ones I remember being read to from. And then it's weird because there are same publisher but different run, I think. And I've got like 3 copies of each of these from this publisher, and these are all dog-eared. These are the least dog-eared of these that I was able to locate on my shelves. But so this is newly revised with a special foreword by the author. Is this one? These editions do not have the author on the back, but it is green some. Yeah, actually, now thinking about it, this edition, so the edition that I showed you a second ago, 1965, it says here, and this one, I gotta be careful with here. There are many like liquid stains on here. Aging. Also 1965. So my 5th printing, June 1966. First printing October 1965. 5th printing June 1966. So later printing. Valentine, it says? Valentine. Okay. But we have this. And then we have this, in that same series, the Two Towers. $0.95. And the other 60s edition of The Return of the King. And I think one of the cool things actually about these books, which, you know, it's a thing that you see, right? I got to be very careful here when I'm showing you this. Oh man, I don't know if I can do this very well. Just because of the constraints that I am currently under of having to not destroy these books, because I really don't want to. But you may note, if you place them side by side, that they are all part of the same picture, same illustration. That is a continuous image, which is very neat. These illustrations, I think, are from the bottom of the map that came out. We had, and I have no idea where this map is now, and I wish I did know where it was. So we had a wall map. It was made out of the sort of the sort of paper or the slightly plastic. It was a poster basically, but that I damaged over the years with blue tack and crap because I was a kid and didn't know any better. But we had this beautiful map of Middle Earth with a big sort of border around it. I don't know if there's any way to recapture what that specifically was, because it was a thing that we had from like the 70s or 80s. It had this border all around it of illustrations like these by the same artist, basically. And it showed everything. And you could, sort of, as you're reading, look up and find it on the map. It was very clearly, I remember it being very clearly marked. It was very cool. It was very awesome. And I wish we had not lost it, basically. I wish I knew where it was. Because it was very cool, and it was a piece of my childhood. Yeah, I mean, these books were kind of very important to me growing up, because it was very, very formative stuff happening, and kind of helped cement the love of fantasy that I have. I have a few of these that came over. We have apparently. And this is again from my grandmother, the Book of Lost Tales, Part 2. I don't think she had Part 1, or someone else grabbed it. And this is an edition from when my grandmother had a treasure trove of old books. I have to tell you this. 1984. This one's from 1984. And this is a biography of Tolkien from 1977. I will go ahead once again. As you can see, they like green, So there's going to be a lot of messing with the chroma key going on. As I show you some of these. But there it is. It's a... I have not read this. But, look, we shall capture the entirety of this thing. Okay. But it was... so we have that. And then this was my grandparents' edition of the Silmarillion. Which I think was also 77, 78. Has another picture of Tolkien on the back, looking very stately. And because I think this might have been just after he passed away, maybe? 1977? Am I right about that? Let me see. 1973. Okay, I'm off by about 5 years. 4 years. I can math. Saying the first book I read with multiple choices was given to me by my granddad, Mind Delusion says. I remember once I put some effort into reading. Couldn't let it go. I only remember the cover having a man-serpent kind of warrior with a chest plate and a shield also holding a sword. Yeah. Ah, man, yeah. My mother got me into reading stuff for myself with the Endless Quest books. They were like Choose Your Own Adventure books, but they were put out by TSR and they were D&D themed. They used the Dungeons and Dragons brand, and I do remember. Although apparently not off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember the title of the thing. But they were the Endless Quest books. We had a lot of them at one time, and then I think I gave a lot of them away. Dungeon of Dread, that was the first one. And she read that to me, and I was like, I have to have more. So that really helped get me reading on my own. Because she would read these to me and she said, if you want to go here, turn to page 1. I'm like, what? I was so enamored of that idea. And so I'm very glad that those are actually back in production. We have new Endless Quest books that have come out. And of course, new Choose Your Own Adventure books, because it's a delightful thing. So now I have saved the oldest of these books. Or the oldest looking. For now. I'm going to start with these terribly delicate things, which I shall very carefully show you. Which I shall turn off the chroma key and then very carefully show you. So these my grandmother has had for some time, and I have to be careful with them because I guess by now they are kind of antiques, one might say. At the time they were $5.95. My grandmother was an English teacher. I can see within the first page she has photocopied and stuck notes on pronunciation. Note on pronunciation for the different consonants and vowels and such from Tolkien. She was a big fan of Tolkien. And she's also put... Oh my gosh. Okay. I barely want to touch this. This is a newspaper clipping that she took when Tolkien died. This is a newspaper clipping from 73? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to find the... I'm looking through very carefully trying to find the copyright date for this book. Because... 16th printing, it says. This book is copyright under the Berne Convention, printed in the United States of America. It's an early printing. But it does not have, as far as I can tell, the actual copyright date in the front. It's got the copyright notice. But not the date. Oh, Lord. Okay, yeah, there are maps in here in the back of this, that I dare not unfold. But I will show you. See, it's there. And, I dare not unfold it, for I do not wish to harm these volumes in any way. Like I said, I gotta be exceedingly careful with these. I don't rightly know the when of these precisely, because, like I said, I don't see a copyright date. Looking on the book jacket, I do not see a copyright date. They've given so, The Hobbit, published in 1938, Lord of the Rings, doesn't give a year. But anyway, there is something magical in seeing old used books, really. I used to love used bookstores. Used to work in one for a little while. The owner was not well, the less said the better. Two Towers. My God. I'm just looking at the detail on the illustration here, and there's like a hobbit with a looks like a hobbit with an umbrella. Just standing there, bowler hat and umbrella. Just the sheer amount of detail, and it's the same illustration on all three of the books, on the front of all three of the books. I just wanted to check in, and this is the 13th printing of the Two Towers. And in the back, more maps that are kind of attached. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. Like I said, I'm not gonna unfold it because don't want to damage them at all. Hey, how's it going? I am showing Tolkien books that I got from my grandmother. And the final volume in a trilogy acclaimed as a modern epic, which includes The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. And this one also, I keep scrabbling around for a date that they don't give me. I can just check by, which printing number is it? 13th printing. So that's that one. And it is, I think, very neat. I am going to need to, why did I turn the chroma key back on? Because the next book, the final one I'm going to show you here is also green. This one probably not quite as old as the others, but very valuable to me. And this will sort of bookend the showing of what I did, because this is also a copy of The Hobbit. But this is the one. This edition was the one that my mother read to me when I was a kid. This is the first book that I have any memory of anyone ever reading to me. And it is very special to me. It's why the act of reading to people is also very special to me. Yeah, this is a more recent copy. We had another copy. I had another copy that kind of fell apart. I think that was the actual original book that she read out of. This is not the actual original book she read out of, I don't think, but it's the same edition. Because we had multiple copies. This is the 19th printing. And it just is very, it's very much a thing. It's very much a thing for me. And perhaps sometime in the future, if I survive if I survive viruses and then also other medical stuff that I have happening, then perhaps one day I shall read it to someone else. But we shall see. We shall see. But them's the books. That's really all I had planned at this point, per se. I didn't want to drag. I didn't know how long, because I knew there were a bunch of books. I didn't know how long that was going to last. So I knew that was going to take a while. I've considered. Well, let's see. We've got about. It's about 1:45 at this point. And so I'm gonna probably need to start. We need to start lunch within like half an hour, probably, in about half an hour, because I am. I have an appointment at to go and pick up groceries at 1:30. I'm trying out this service whereby I have ordered groceries ahead of time, about $100 worth of groceries, and I will drive up to the front of the grocery store. I shall press a button. I shall open my trunk, and then, if it works as advertised, they will come and they will place those groceries in the trunk and close the trunk, and I shall never have to have physical contact with them. As these things happen. Just had a home delivery? Cool. I will say I did just come across, or I came across, in one of the Discords that I look at, I can't remember which one, someone pointed out a video about kind of how to cleanse your groceries, basically, and deal with like fast food and such. I'm gonna see if I can find it here in my recent history. No.
My name is.
Well, yes. Wait. No, that was it. Bagnabbit. Okay. So we will go here. I will have to immediately turn off the audio so that it doesn't mess with me. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the link in the chat for anyone who wants to see that. Really nice collection of books with history behind. Thanks for showing and sharing it. Don't forget that poem. Read it when you can, even in private. I'm pretty sure it's something you already know. I'll take a look. I'll definitely take a look. yeah, so I watched this this video a little bit earlier, and it basically this fellow. Here we go. This fellow here talks about, basically does this demonstration talking about how to clean off your groceries and how to and if you go out and you get food or you have food delivered to you, how to clean that, basically. And so it's I think it's very cool that people are just sort of coming out and just doing whatever they can to help. And so this doctor took some time to go ahead and show these things to folks so they can at least deal with it. And this is as of, it says here, March 24th. So it's not going to have whatever the latest research is taken into account, but I think it's still going to be good generally. Since this was coming up on a week ago. But I'd say take a look if you're so inclined. As he basically will sort of show what needs to be done if you wish to, if you're worried about dealing with things with your groceries. I know some folks. So actually, you were saying you had home delivery. Did they leave it outside your door? Mike, did they leave the your groceries like on your porch or what have you? Or was it a thing where they knocked and you had to open the door for them? Because I'm curious. It's in the porch? Good. Yeah. One would hope that people are twigging to this and doing it. I will tell you, I have had, though, recently, I have had delivery from 4 different places, 4 different kinds of things. It's pizza and other things. And only one of those 4 actually followed instructions. And in fact, it was the one that I called and spoke. Well, actually, no, it's not that. There was another one I called and spoke to directly, and then they redirected me to the website. But this one I called and spoke to, and was like, because there's something weird about my account online. It wouldn't, I entered the wrong password too many times, and so I couldn't get in. And so I called them up, and they came and they I talked to the guy who was very nice. And explained, okay, when you have a service there where we will call you, the driver will call you when he's on his way, and he will call you when he's outside the door and making the delivery, which he did. Just basically, it was a thing where it was like, and I just told him how much the tip was, and he took care of that, and he set the pizza boxes down in front of the door, and then he went away, and I was able to go and get them. So. Right now we have a 25%, I personally, in this very non-scientific pool of various delivery places that I'm doing at my home, have a 25% success rate of them doing it right. Everyone else came and knocked on the door and tried to hand me a thing. And, too many people touch, then put it back. Like in the grocery store? Yeah, absolutely. That's especially, they do that here too, where it's, where, you go into the grocery store and they pick up a fruit. Like they pick up an apple and turn it around to try to see it. I was guilty of doing that. Just as a general thing. I haven't since the outbreak. I've just been going and, it's like, looking carefully at staring at the fruit from a little distance away. Just trying from 6 feet away to very carefully study each individual piece of fruit and figure out which one I want before I zoom in and grab it. It's crazy times. But yeah, basically, so what I've determined thus far is it's looking like these new protocols that people are putting on their websites have not filtered down to everybody. That is an employee at these places. These places are hiring lots of new employees, so that's perhaps part of it. But yeah, we're sort of at a point where you have to. I feel like my policy is now I'm going to have to talk to them directly, and I'm going to have to very much underline, like, no contact, leave it at the door and go away. I am paying with a credit card. Here is the amount of the tip. Place the box in front of the door and return to your vehicle. That's basically what's going to have to happen. Because, I was just noticing, you shall not pass. I should put that on the front door. I should put like a thing of Gandalf. But no, that would be a little cheesy for me. I was just noticing I was doing this as though I was using an old telephone, which is funny because usually nowadays if I'm using my phone, I put it on speaker. But it's like you may as well just be like, let's turn the crank to make the phone work. Yeah, it's mind-boggling because these other places I would do a thing where it's like their websites, they have a box that you can check to say leave it at the door or contactless, or they go into excruciating detail on the website. We will put it in its own protective bag. So I did that, and all three of those people knocked at the door and tried to hand me stuff. One of them, I ended up actually just sort of cracking the door, and he was like showing the receipt through, and I was like, "Put it down!" And unfortunately, there was a language barrier here, so they were not. They just kept saying, "No, food," and I'm like, "All right." I opened it just enough for them to. I saw a hand come in with the bag, and I very carefully grabbed the bag without touching him from underneath, and it was thoroughly strange and disastrous. I am noticing, though, in a lot of the advice that we're getting, that people are talking about using disinfectant. I should probably get some more of that because I thought I had some and I do not. So that's a thing. I'm mostly cleaning things with soap and water right now. But then just every time I go out, nowadays I used to shower before I went out. Now I shower just when I come back from going out. That's basically how we're doing it. But anyway, enough about that. So I've got something like, I want to say 15 to 20 minutes before I'm going to start doing actual cooking of any kind. Let me go ahead and look over this poem that was recommended unto me. It is in the public domain, so that's good. It was by Max Ehrmann, who died in 1945. And if your staff is about 6 feet long, that you can use to. So this is Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. That I have not read this poem before, so I'm not clear on what's in it. That went so well last time I tried to cold read something on this channel. I just want to warn you. I was trying to read a folk tale. But this looks as though this is a. This looks as though religion gets involved, so I may have some. I may have some words about that. But let's see. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even to the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. The dull and the ignorant! Even to the even to the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. Well, there's a certain amount of tone argument going on in there. Is that you still? I think it's still important to know what is being said, even if it's being said in a way that is loud and aggressive. And it is harder to. I understand, because your defense mechanism kicks in when someone is yelling at you about something, either in person or over the internet. But I think it's important to know what they're saying as well, because they may have. They may have a very specific reason why they're yelling. So I don't entirely agree with that, but let's see. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter. That is true. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. That in and of itself is not true, in my opinion. But it's, you have... I don't think there's greater or lesser, there's different. But I think from your own personal interpretation, if you're looking at someone and you think, this person's doing better at this than I am, you can say that. But at the same time, that's not about you. Or it should never be. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. That's understandable. Wanting to stick with what you're able to do well. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. Oh, no kidding. Yeah, no, that's fair. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. That's fair. Yeah, we don't see a lot of that. We don't see enough of that. But it is out there. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Yeah, human emotions are a strange thing. And it says, do not feign affection. That's very important, because there are sometimes. There was a relationship I was in once where I did things because I thought I was supposed to. Don't do that. Don't do things just because you think you're supposed to. You actually have to want to do them. That kind of helps. Let's see. Take kindly in the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Well, yes, take kindly the understand that when people have more experience than you, you should listen and find out what it is that they have the experience of. Gracefully surrendering the things of youth depends on what you mean by that, really. But because if you're trying just not to look like a kid, then that's the wrong reason. Also, that's actually more childish than retaining things like games and what have you. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. Good. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. That's very true. Unfortunately, there are many of us with brain chemistry that doesn't let us stop doing that, so it's very much a... I totally would if I could. If I could turn it off, I totally would. So I appreciate wanting to, not wanting to focus on those things. If you like me are neurodivergent and you want to learn, figure out ways, you work out tricks, right? You figure out tricks to try to help yourself with that. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's trial and error. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. I mean, I don't think anyone should take that as an excuse to do nothing. But, it's... as the idea of you're a child of the universe, we all We all come from this universe, except maybe perhaps those of you listening in from parallel dimensions. Thank you for watching. If in fact you are. Let us know how things are in the higher dimensions, if you can send us any information on that. It says then, therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And I think nowadays we'd replace the pronoun with them. Probably would be better if you have a conception of that. I think it's also totally okay if you don't have a conception of that if you're not into the God concept. I personally am not, but I think just try to be at peace with existence itself is a good message, because existence is there, and you can't cause it to unexist. And many of those who try go down a very dark path indeed. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. Yes, absolutely. Try to do that as best you can. With all its sham drudgery and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. That's very nice. That's very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Again, that was, I think, Mind Delusion who shared that a little bit earlier. And it's good, I think, to have these things that sort of help you to center yourself, whether that's a poem or a song or piece of music or ritualistic washing of the hands. Whatever it is you need to do for yourself to make your life work, do it. I think absolutely do it. And now someone is attempting to call me on the phone, so I'm going to I think cut this short. One moment, if you will. Okay, that was interesting. My shopper called. Um, and that they're, you know, just basically going around and wanted to just ask me about the items that they weren't able to find, which is very cool. I was not expecting that to happen. So that was neat. That was very good. So that was very helpful. So I'm quite pleased that that happened. Yeah, actual contact, trying to find out what it is that we want and need. My God. So that was cool. That was very cool. Honestly, though, I didn't have much else that I wanted to mention here. Let's see. It is 12:12. I actually might do the thing where I do lunch afterward. I don't know. We shall figure that out. But in the meantime, was there? Let's see. Was there? Unless there's anything else anyone wanted to chat about, I think I'm going to go ahead and take my leave, and just kind of work on some other stuff for a while. I was thinking about switching over and playing. I was thinking about switching over and playing a video game for a little bit. I don't know if I want to delve into that as such right now, and maybe we could give it a try. But then I would only... Now, you see, we're too close to... The thing being, I know what my brain does, and as soon as we hit 12:30, I'm going to start being nervous, because it's like, okay, wait, we've only got so long. But maybe... All right, tell you what, I need to try this. Those of you watching for a chat will now see me transition into playing a video game. But I have to figure out how to make that work, because it has been a little while. So let me go ahead and get this over to something where I can adjust the various thingies that I need to adjust. I'm actually gonna go to the Be Right Back screen. And then I'm going to transition over to probably a different Be Right Back screen. While I hook this up, but I should be able to transfer this over pretty quickly. So we shall give it a shot. And for those of you just being here to chat, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And take care to you. I'll be back in a bit.